I think it's working. Hey guys, I was working on trying to get the respawning and whatnot working, and to be honest, I'm still sort of learning replication. I get the idea a little bit, but I'm still getting hung up on correctly getting the references correctly sometimes. So usually with the correct player controller, but I found the best workaround is through the user interfaces, through widgets. You add a widget and then you can always get the correct player controller. That way you can communicate a bit more accurately. I'd like to do a lot more work on this just to make it a bit more integral. I don't even think that sentence made sense. But anyway, I think I was looking through this video. I saw a lot of issues with the comments. A lot of people having a lot of issues. I think they're pretty simple ones to work through, so maybe I'll just correct them while I'm here. But yeah, maybe we'll do that. I'm just sort of looking. I had a couple gaps in my knowledge that I need to fill. I managed to do that with a video. So I didn't go through the entire tutorial up in the series up till there. So my project's going to look very different to yours, but I'm pretty sure that all of the integral parts of it that we need to change and get working will look similar or the same. Anyway, let's just sort of get into it because I'm butchering this. It's 7:30 and I have not slept. I was kind of working on this, so we'll figure it out. So the way this is getting set up, spawns in, comes to game mode. Here's the thing. So the way mine originally works is the game mode gets the player controller, and from here I can spawn them a character and possess it through here. So it just gets a player start, spawns the character, sets it up. That gets called quite a lot, so that'll get changed, so ignore that one. Then you possess it and draw the HUD, input, make sure the camera's done. So all that's really important is that you're spawning it and possessing it, and I think that gets done in his tutorial, so this should be fine. So as long as you call this function, which I think you do,
play of this actor,
player died, respawn character. So
that looks,
he's got to have one in the game mode, right? I'll be honest, I've only watched like a third of this video. I haven't watched any of that, and I haven't watched any of that. I just sort of skipped straight to the part that I needed to know. But then once I saw the player controller, I'm like, I can kind of figure it out from there. I think I can figure it out from there. But I was seeing all the issues in the comments, and I'm like, we can address those in case anyone needs help with that. Okay, so we come to the game mode. This way, yeah.
Does it come from a
Spawn requested.
server? Now, before we do that,
Yeah,
we're going to check the play.
Okay, so this will be the same function as this, basically. So you call it on the server. I'm going to change how this works because I was thinking earlier, there's a difference between hard coding everything and coding things dynamically. I try to go a bit more dynamic. That's why we got like player start, but this is also going to get changed later on down the road. I'm going to create a new actor, one that I can spawn in around the map. So it's like, assume a building gets destroyed, then you can delete it, and then it won't find this again, and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, all you really need is a reference to a transform so you know where your character is being spawned. And as long as that's being found here, then you shouldn't have any issues, because I think I saw an issue or two in the comments where people were having a bit of an issue with finding a transform, like finding where to spawn the character. So as long as that's being found on the server in the game mode, so set it in the game mode, or correctly in the widget, because we'll make a widget. As long as you're getting a correct transform, you should be fine. But if you just add a get or act as a class in here, then hook it in, then you can't have any issues. So you should never have an issue there. So let's go to where we die, because that's the important part. That looks like it. Okay, so the way my character works, we take damage, blah blah blah, calculate health. So we come here, and first of all, make sure your health is updating. So this is being done in the character. It's being done in the character, but it gets updated through the player controller. So it basically just tells the player controller update the health. And yeah, so once you die, then I think he does a bit differently. How does he do
Player
that?
controller is a valid reference, so drag this
wait.
out and just do
Is
is
it
valid
over here?
and a position of doing. Take away the
Spawn.
pit. And send that respawning actually here. Player.
Okay, so yeah, either way, I'm not exactly sure how he does it, but once you die, so your health's gone, mine gets set to not alive. That might not be relevant to you, but it is for mine. You know what, set up an is alive. It's just good practice, because I did see a comment in there about like checking, how do I make sure that the enemies stop attacking if the player's dead? Yeah, so what you could do is, mine is like a zombie thing at the moment, so spawn some enemies and they'll come looking for us. They'll find her first, so we could just watch get attacked. Okay, so she's dead. Done. Simples. They're still attacking her though, but we can change that very easily. See, as long as she's there, they're gonna see her and attack her. If these guys see me, they'll come for me, but for right now, they're not doing nothing. I'm gonna change a little bit, but not too much, because the way. So, while they're attacking the body, what you might want to do is go to, if you've got this is alive function, then all you need to do is, see, they broadcast, they attack, simple. But maybe what you want to do is you want to check if the person you're attacking is alive or dead, because if they're still alive, continue the attack. If they die, then you can even make a decision. I might make mine like a 50-50 or like a weighted bull, so like 75% chance that they swap target. So it's like, okay, this one's dead, I'm gonna go somewhere else. So you just check that alive bull. Are they dead? Yes, they're dead. Go somewhere else. Maybe an objective, maybe another player. One of the two. Do I have? No. My interface is unset up to check if they're alive. It'll be very easy though. Like, maybe we'll do that quickly right this second. Because my take damage interface. Take damage, give health. So all we'd need to do is add a new function. We'll just say check alive, and we have an output. Yeah. And so alive question. Okay, so now we've got an output. We go back to these guys and we just say check the target if they're alive. Actually, that would have to happen before it plays the attack. Take damage. Either way, we can do that a little earlier because this is the attack now broadcast, so we might want to put it in, not here, up here, because this is where they're attacking. So just chuck it in up here before they attack, before it plays the attack, and then it can decide, am I going to continue this and attack or not? So chuck this up there. So if it's true, we'll just say yeah. So if it's true, then take damage. Maybe I'll quickly. That always wants to take damage. But we'll chuck this up here. So if true, blah blah blah, and you. Okay, so we'll come through here. If it's true, then you go through the attack. And you should be target. If it's false, then you can just branch off there and say maybe attack something else, or maybe you just want to have them kneel down and start eating the dead body. Up to you. You can do that. I'll probably add that. Just so sometimes they eat the dead body. Add some insult to injury. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so where are we? We're dead. So once you die, you go server died. So you call this on the server. Then add this do once function, because so many people are like, I keep taking damage, blah blah blah. Yeah, how do I stop damage? Just add a do once. So once you die, it does this once. Say died. Have this execute on all multicast. And again, do once. This is not necessary probably. I'm just doing it because I definitely only want this to do it one time. Then you disable some ragdolls, simulate physics, all that good stuff. Here's where we're gonna branch off from his a little bit. Also, there was one issue where people were like, how do I make it disappear? Add this note here, 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, this character's dead. Because the way it works is characters like your body, and player controller is your spirit. You know, you die, you still want only the reference to your soul. The body we don't care about. So set it for like 10 seconds, however long you want. And after 10 seconds, your body just disappears or gets destroyed, whatever. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into the player controller. One other thing real quick before we get there, because I just saw an issue. So we get here. And we're gonna die if they're not attacking me. You should be alive. I think I forgot to set it to true by default. It should be true by default. Alive. Yeah, is alive. Check alive. I haven't set it. Okay. So now they actually see if we are alive or dead. I gotta run off to the side because there's a little collision thing there that spawns them. Okay, so we die. Now they stop attacking us, which I actually don't want now for this demonstration. God damn it. So we'll go back here. Where are you? and we are going to go back to having them attack us while we are still dead. Because some of you had like a multiplayer game where you're shooting other players. So if you want to keep shooting the body, taking damage afterwards, we want to address that. Okay, so I die, and he's going to keep attacking me. You can see I'm taking damage though, and it's relative to that dead body. So you might still be dying again. If there was the if you didn't put that do once function in, then every time they hit that dead body, you would be dying in the new body. So we can put you back, because that's just for the future. And we want to go here, I think. Yes, we do. Okay, so one thing we want to do is, if you guys have it set up like me, where if your character takes damage, then they send the information to the player controller to update the HUD and all of that good stuff, then I don't know if you've got a reference to your player controllers, but if you do, you just want to clear that reference. So now, nope, because I changed it back, didn't I? So let's change you back one more time. You can see them attacking the dead body, and I am no longer taking damage, just because I had to clear the reference. Okay, so what's next? One more time, we'll set that up. Okay, so we're gonna make a new widget. Maybe I'll just do it from scratch so you can see exactly what I'm doing. There's really not much to it. This is it. So all we're doing is HUD. Yeah, I won't make it from scratch, but I'll just show you what I did, because it's just nothing fancy at all. I literally just slapped some buttons on there. Once your character dies, where are you? Okay, so you die, come to your player controller, and we want to draw this. So we go to the player controller and we draw the death screen. And we want this to run on the owning client. I've already got a player HUD that I do this, but it would probably work just as well if actually you can see how I've set that up, because this is this right here. So when you start the game, if you want your own HUD, just draw a HUD, and then you can add it in here, because all this does is create the widget and adds it to viewport. This isn't even relevant. I never called this function ever, so ignore that entirely. All this is doing is just creating a widget and throwing it on your viewport and showing your mouse cursor. So if you want to take this and come back to player controller and just slap this straight in here, it'll probably work just as well, because that is all it's doing really. So you're not missing out much here. So just make sure that you're focusing on, maybe set the focus. So if you're going to do that, let's see if it'll work. Player controller, ish. should work. No promises. We don't need that. Like I said, it's irrelevant. Self, because this is the player controller, so as long as it's itself, we should be fine. Set focus. I think that's right. Add to viewport. Aha. That's one. But that might break another one of our things. So we'll take that, throw in the player controller, and it should work just as well. And that's what we want to add to the viewport. And U to the U as well. I'll just test it real quick. The only thing is, because I'm setting it to the UI, the press E to respawn might not work. It does, so not an issue. So yeah, it works completely fine. That's all you need to do. Just make a new widget. You know what, we'll make a new one real quick, just to show you. User interface, there you are, widget, respawn, just a user widget. Respawn widget. Canvas panel. And all we want to do is add a button. And maybe some text, because that's all I did. Set this to 50, nice and big. E to respawn. Okay, so what we're gonna do is get rid of all this, except for this one. We want this one. What was it? It was input. Listen for input. That's what we want. Listen for input action. Okay. So, I mean, I've been having issue with the key downs. Maybe it's an Unreal Engine 5 thing. I'm not sure why. I've been having a bit of an issue. But the way to get this one to work is once this widget opens, you come to the project settings. Come to inputs, and I want E. So you get the name of the input, the input action. So the interaction input, that is for the E input, and it will listen for this. We come here and we put that there. So this is now the interaction input. It's now the input that this widget is listening for. So if I push E while this widget is open, then it'll do a thing. Custom. Spawn. SPW. Okay. And we will come back here and we'll go with U, press U. Okay, so where was my death widget? So all we want to do is get the owning player and come here. Okay, so we'll go to the player controller. Yeah, because in the player controller we're gonna do, get out of here. I think this is coming back to Ryan's thing where, yeah, so we're calling this on the server, all we're doing is casting to the game mode and saying, hey, spawn the player. So all this does is come back to that original function I mentioned in the start, because this will spawn, tell you where to be spawned, and possess the player as long as we have the correct player controller reference. So if we come back to you, if we get owning player and we put that directly into the that function, then it'll be the correct player controller every single time. So I've been seeing a lot of people talking about how only the server is respawning and not the client. So maybe that's an issue with maybe you're calling get player controller at 0, because that will be, it's a bit hit and miss. That's what I mean. It seems to be inconsistent for me personally, where get controller player controller 0 might be, well, it should be the server. It should be the server, if I'm not mistaken. But I also get people saying it's the client, whoever is actually playing. Either way, this is consistent. Because this just gets whoever owns this widget. So the player controller that is running this widget. So if this runs on your player controller, it will always be your player controller that it calls. And therefore, it won't. You shouldn't have an issue with the client or server. So from the your player controller, cast to your player controller, and we tell your player controller to respawn on the server. And what this does is tell the game mode to spawn your player. Okay, so where are we? Death widget. Which just saves time and get this going. Oh, I'll take these as well. Did I not do that correctly? Yes, I did not do that correctly. Okay, so what am I doing? Come down here, spawn, or press the button. Yeah, that should be right. Also, what you want to do with this one is we want it to consume. So consume just means if you input the button, it can't be called outside of the widget. It'll just steal that call, and yeah, so you can't use something while this widget is open by accident in the background. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so if it sees that the input gets called, then this gets called, blah blah blah. Should work. If we go to my player controller, if I can find it, and death widget, we now go to respawn widget, which is the one we just created. And it should work just as well. There we go. You got full control, and I do believe I am the client. Yes, client. Maybe you're not the client, but this is the client. This is a client for sure. I'm pretty sure they're both clients. Ah, there's one bug. One buggy boy. Okay, so why did that not get removed from the client? Actually, I think I know why. Death widget. is valid. It should still be valid. Player controller, blah 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 blah. Destruct. Remove from parent. Death widget, respawn widget. I'm not actually sure. It should be getting removed from parent. Unless there's no casting fail, so that definitely worked. Display respawn. Did I? Where is this? Player HUD. Yeah, we just did that. So that's fine. Death widget. I've got too much stuff going on right now. Add to viewport, blah 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 blah. Owning client. Not sure, we'll try that one more time. Because it looks like it should be working. We'll just go straight to the client. I didn't spawn them, did I? Yeah, so I still got it on it, but I'm not too sure why. It works fine for you, doesn't it? Ugh. We need their attention. Yeah, okay. PC. Maybe what we'll do is we'll make a hard workaround. This should be getting called and it should be removing itself, but it's not on the client for whatever reason. So what we're going to do is player HUD. Player controller. Okay, so once this gets called, blah 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 blah. We will actually, was it self? Yeah, remove from parent should be self. It is respawning, so it's not failing that. Yeah. So we're gonna go to player controller and we will just set this as a reference. Respawn widget. And then we will come to the respawn widget and we can wait for this, but what we will also do is instead, while we're doing this, we will, okay, that's already fine. Player controller, do you remove one? I forget. Custom. We will set this to run on owning client. Remove from parent. That's the one. Okay, so if we go remove from parent, then we should that should also work. I'm gonna have to go back and change a lot of this stuff. You're the client. Yeah. No, you're still there, but why? I feel like this is one of those issues where if I just close it and then restart it, it'll work fine. Because it was working fine just earlier. Because if we go back to death widget, which is exactly the same thing, that should work. Client, blah, 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 blah. I've completely forgotten where it was. Death widget. What is all this? Yeah, okay, so that's fine. Maybe it is an issue with my HUD though, because I feel like if I swap out and go back to the original HUD that I had, we'll try that, because it might be referring to the wrong HUD. It might be destroying the parent. What did I originally have? I think I had my player HUD, you. Damn it. Where'd you go? So we get you. Actually, we'll just do the same that I did earlier. Oh, whatever. Oh my god, my brain is not working. I can't even copy paste. So we'll grab you, player HUD. That's not what I want. That's the wrong one. I completely forgot how I had it set up. Okay, player HUD. What function am I calling for you? Because all I was doing was calling a function. Was it respawn? Display respawn. Play controller. Self. So we come here, hook this up again. So we're creating the widget, blah blah blah. Same. Respawn widget. Yeah, that's fine. We're not even using that anymore. We're using the original. I swear to God, client. It's probably just an issue where I have to call it on the server somewhere. There you kidding me? Either way. Should work. You just got an issue with the goddamn HUD not disappearing right now. And I don't know why on the client. But we'll figure that out a little later. I'll do a follow-up, but I'm going to get some sleep. I'm not even copy-pasting